Welcome back to Newsmaker Live. I am Clinton Reynolds, and I am joined here by Eunice Otley, the coordinator of Project Breakaway. And Project Breakaway is involved in health, fitness, cycling. It is health and fitness on two wheels. Also, we have Leslie Serrier, the treasurer of the St. Lucia Cycling Association. So, a good match right here, talking about cycling, charity, independence, and Commonwealth Youth Games, which are slated for 2012 and
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
I don't know where my brain is tonight. 2017. So in 5 years' time, well, I know for sure for swimming that we're getting a 50-meter pool somewhere in the Beausejour area. So that is in train right now. So by 2015 that should be done. 2015, 2016, thereabout. What would it take to have cycling as part of the sports or on the calendar for Commonwealth Youth Games?
It would take a decision by the powers that be, which would be the local organizing committee, comprised of officials from the government and, of course, the Central Olympic Committee, to decide to include cycling in the list of events for that Commonwealth Games. I think there are a number of sports which are mandatory in that event, and then there are others that have to be decided upon, cycling being one of those. In terms of hosting a cycling event, it can happen without a facility. You can do it on the road. You can have a road race, time trial, even a criterium, which will just utilize the roads that we currently have. But it will be that much better if we had a velodrome, which is a dedicated facility for the cycling. You can have many more events being hosted in a velodrome rather than on the roads. So whilst we would love to have a velodrome, and that would be a wonderful legacy of the 2017 Youth Commonwealth Games, but we don't necessarily have to have it to host cycling as part of those games.
Now, I know Project Breakaway is concerned with charity, giving back, and you're using cycling as your medium. Have you considered, trying to beef up the Cycling Association, push the Cycling Association forward, since your interest is primarily cycling?
Well, I'm not sure if I would be bold enough to say push the Cycling Association forward, but certainly we have discussed the idea of using a medium like Project Breakaway to get a pool of cyclists from which the association can choose. So among the membership of Project Breakaway, there are persons who are into competitive cycling. So we have the casual cyclists, we have competitive cyclists, and we have young cyclists who could certainly get into competitive cyclists. In addition to that, with Project Breakaway, since we're inviting all cyclists, anybody who can ride, to be a part of what we do, it means that the Cycling Association has a ready pool that they can spot talent and pull people from that to get into national representation.
Now, Project Breakaway, you have various activities, events scheduled for this year, coming up as soon as this month.
That's right.
Tell me a bit about the projects that you have coming on.
All right. One of the novel projects that we have coming up is something that we call a cyclists convention. And that convention will take place on the 26th of February at the Windjammer Hotel conference room. We are inviting cyclists to be there to hear of safety on the roads, health information. We're going to invite professionals, experts in their various fields and so on, to talk about these various activities, nutrition as well as it relates to cyclists and cycling. So it's going to be a novel event, and cyclists can be educated. They can take the opportunity as well to come together, to meet each other, to build a kind of cycling community. Because like I said, we are scattered on the roadways. What Project Breakaway does is gives everybody the opportunity to ride with a purpose and to build a sense of camaraderie as well. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. And on the 18th of March, we'll be having our next charity ride to benefit the Faces of Cancer organization. The Faces of Cancer is a support group for cancer patients, and we are going to do a ride for them. Usually they are in need of persons to support the organization. Sometimes there are people at hospitals and so on that they need to get certain kinds of help for, and they need finances to do these things. And so we are going to do a charity ride for them on the 18th of March. So that's within the next month or so. And of course this month on the 26th, the cyclist convention. I want to say too that Project Breakaway is very, very happy that corporate sponsors see the need to come on board with this. And I must say thanks in a big way to Beacon Insurances, who have come on and they have agreed to uniform the group. So when you see the Project Breakaway riders on the road, you would know that, hey, this is something that is really alive and well and making waves here in St. Lucia, achieving its purposes.
I mean, it would be similar to those riding clubs that you have, or I mean, like Lance Armstrong, Discovery, whatever.
That's right.
His team.
It's Live Strong Foundation.
And you have, you know, them wearing the same.
Yeah.
They're all a tad the same, you know. So
right.
you could actually identify who they are.
Yes.
I mean, is there a cycling association? How is it set up? Do you have various cycling clubs that form part of the association?
The association has clubs and individual membership. So clubs are free to join, and so are individuals. But we don't right now. We don't have that many clubs. I think we don't have that many cycling clubs. In the 80s, we had a few clubs: Danners Free Wheelers, Cash Cycling Club. But these, I don't know, fell out, by the way. So we have now a majority of individual members with the association.
And how many members do you have, about roughly?
Let's say maybe 45 to 50 members right now, exclusive of some other clubs.
Okay. And what have you done, or what are you doing to attract new members to the association?
Well, I was in Rio Clinton, this year we're going to have a very developmental focus. So, for example, we're going to target the primary and secondary schools. Last week, Friday, we donated 10 road bikes to the Dimple Primary School to start the school's primary program in that school. We want to attract persons to the sport from as young as possible. So they will groom themselves, we will groom them, teach them to ride properly, cycling skills, and train them in terms of bike control and, of course, muscle memory, how to become a champion cyclist. We want to take that program. We started at Dimple because it had a good facility to do that. The school is properly fenced. It has a nice ring road inside of there, so we don't have to bring the children out onto the main roads when they're learning to ride the bicycle. Of course, when they progress past that point, yes, we go onto the roads and hopefully onto a proper cycling facility, as in a velodrome. But when we start at that school, we'll replicate this program and then hopefully attract more corporate sponsorship, so we can buy more bicycles and donate to more schools and build critical mass. So then the ultimate aim of that is to have cycling in the inter-school sporting calendar. And then from there we'll have a really big pool of potential national cyclists to choose from, as well as clubs such as groups like Project Breakaway. We talking to Otley, he's a very close friend of mine. We've ridden together for about 7 years now, actually, and through that medium, we will also attract persons to join the group, to join the cycling association. So.
And I mean, those cyclists who have gone, well, who are a little more mature, who were the hot shots, you know, in years past, how are they being incorporated into the new movement or the association, and how are you feeding off what they know, their experience and their skills?
A lot of those guys are still members. You have a person like Elvis Joseph, who is still riding competitively today. We have other guys. Raymond Volney rides with Project Breakaway on the morning. So we use those guys. They have a wealth of experience to talk to younger riders and, you know, encourage them to keep with it, and at their age, still riding bicycles with guys half the age and keeping up as well. So we want to encourage, we want to encompass, sorry, and what's that? And encompass all the cyclists, not just the young, but the older cyclists. We want to focus on youth, yes, but we don't want to forget our older riders. And they're not out to pasture yet. We need their skills still to try to develop the younger riders on the sport.
Now let's talk about the training regime, because you know, I see the individual cyclists, national cyclists. I see the Mirage brothers all the time because they happen to live close to where I live. And they ride, they have the vehicle, you know, trailing them or leading them, whichever way that they choose at what point. How are their training regimes organized? Is it something that the association does and gives them, or is it all individual? You know, they put their program in place, they hit the streets, and they just go and try to better themselves?
Right now, it's a highly individualized thing. On the national level, it should be a more regimented, structured kind of thing. But the nature of cycling, you need persons who know themselves, and as Mr. Seri was saying earlier, you need coaches who can spot the talent, spot the individual needs of the cyclist, and prepare training programs that suit them. But now it's highly individualized, and that's the nature of the sport.
It's individualized now until when we pick a national team to attend a particular event, say Pan Am Games or whatnot, then we put that team together and we do up a training program for them, whether it is 4-hour rides, sprints, motor pacing, whatever, and we get them to ride together. Because cycling is a team sport. So we need to get them to gel as a team and then train them together and then go forward and take on the rest of the competitors.
And how do you pick the cyclists?
Well, we have events throughout the year, time trials, races, and the guys who perform consistently at the top of their game are the ones that we choose to go forward.
What major event do we have coming up that we need to pick a team for? And has your team been picked as yet?
We haven't picked a team. We are gonna have, well, in September. So we have every year we have OCS Cycling Championships, and we have the Caribbean Cycling Championships. Also, we have the Tour of Tobago, and then we always have Pan American Cycling Championships, which is in Argentina. So these are just 4 events, just off my head, that we have coming up pretty soon.
And you have no idea right now. I mean, you mentioned some cyclists earlier on who might make the team because of their performance.
Yeah, no, we would hold events closer to the date, and then we'd see who's performing creditably, who the best cyclists are, and then these guys would
so it's important for these individuals to keep their individual training programs going, so that when the time comes, they would perform at the top of their game and be selected.
But it seems a bit disjointed, you know. I mean, because you have a national team, but then yet you have individual training programs, so you don't have cyclists developing in the same manner. You know, some of them would have they'd have different strengths because they'd be focused on different aspects of the sport. I mean, how do you get that to gel and to work so that you can develop on the weaknesses of cyclists?
Well,
you could also increase on
other
the strengths.
Sports, football, cricket, you have clubs or district clubs, district teams playing together in competitions, and then when you pick a national team, you pick from all of these, right? So the guys do not train together as a unit for the entire year. They play for the particular clubs or the district, and then you pick a team and you pull them out into that team, and then you train them for a period going forward.
I want us to discuss that point a little more, but we have to take a break now. So you're watching News Make Alive with me, Clinton Reynolds. We have Ernest Otley and Leslie Serrier. We'll be back right after these messages.